This is a production of KMmedia.pro. Welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. Our goal is simple: to explore evolving ideas one conversation at a time. So come on over into our world. I know you'll like it, because on today's show, today we are going to be talking about stuff that I think it's safe to say it's going to blow my mind. And it probably is yours too. It's a brand new thing, and we're going to be talking to a couple of experts about AI, which is artificial intelligence. It is in the news everywhere, and it's being talked about a great deal, and we're going to be talking to them. But first, I have to talk to my friend Eric. How are you, sir?
Hey, Kevin, I'm doing well.
Are you familiar with AI? Have you done much studying around it?
I mean, it's in the news. People are using it for a lot of different things, but I haven't had the occasion or the interest to use it yet. But, you know, of course, that may be changing as I learn more about it from listening to today's show. Or maybe it'll scare me away from it altogether. Who knows? We'll find out. It's interesting, and nevertheless.
And exactly. Now, our weather has turned nice.
Yeah, speaking of interesting.
Yeah, what's happening with our weather this week?
Oh, it's going to be a hot one. Sunny and warm the rest of this week. And it looks like very warm this weekend.
Oh, like I heard 90? Is that possible?
It is possible.
Well, very good. So I want to make sure everybody's aware when it gets to be 90, make sure that your pets and your kids are not left in the car when you go into the grocery store for a quick hot minute, because you don't know the temperatures can go up really fast. So please take care of your family and your pets and stuff. And that's my public service announcement.
Yeah, it looks like Sunday will be our peak. Probably around 85, but things can change.
It's plenty hot enough. Hot enough. So, by the way, I want to welcome Mitch to the show, because he is much more acquainted with this particular
topic.
Topic. Thank you very, very English. It'd be my second language. Sorry. So Eric,
what's the first?
I don't have one.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So I just, anyway. So Mitch, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about you guys? How are you, Eric?
Doing great.
Good.
Yes, he just came back from Vegas, and he did not bet on Red 32. Had he done that, he would have paid for his whole trip.
Vegas. Nope. But
those big buildings are there for a reason, because somebody bought them.
Next time, Kevin, I'll bet just for you. I'll take a picture and video of it, let you know how it goes.
It probably won't go well, but you never know. That's my favorite number, is Red 32. So in any event, Mitch, we've got a couple of great guests with us today, and we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest in AI and what's happening there. And the gal that I want to introduce first, well, we'll introduce both of them at the same time, but Nolie MacDonald, it's a name that's very close to my heart. And
although we'll rival clans in Scotland, MacDonald and MacDonald.
I know you're not allowed to. And anyway,
my parents were always like, no, we're MacDonald. It was a point to be made.
Funny, we were always McDonald. So there. so the question is, do you wear a kilt?
Only on the weekends.
It's a good weekend too. They're going to be 85.
Yeah, that's right. And
a little hot. I don't know. It sounds kind of sweaty.
and Corey is also joining us, and they together are innovative. Well, I'm not exactly sure what to call you guys, because AI is so new. Mitch, what do you think?
Revolutionaries. I think that's the word you're looking for. No,
revolutionaries. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. So, Mitch, we're going to be talking about today something that is so new, and it is changing so fast. I'm a Star Trekkie. Did you ever watch Star Trek?
I did, yeah, a little bit. It wasn't really necessarily my go-to show, but yeah, I watched Star Trek.
I thought, well, not the original. How about the Next Generation? I thought that the holodeck was going to be like the 23rd century, maybe. I'm finding out that that may not quite be accurate.
No.
So we're going to talk with Nolie and Corey. So tell me, how far away are we from having a holodeck type experience?
Well, okay. First of all, like, we're not going to be beaming anyone up to transport them anywhere, but from an immersive standpoint, it will feel like you have been beamed up. So it's kind of faking it to start, but so we're not quite there. You're probably right with the actual like traveling part of it, but we are building out very cutting edge technology that really gives you an immersive experience and we're bringing an 8D sound, which is bilateral stimulation mixed with the 4K graphics, and it ideally will make you feel like you're really there. So if anybody in the audience has ever been to a Soaring Over California or any of those soaring type rides, imagine something like that, but in your living room or your bedroom, wherever. Yeah. So we're trying to bring it a little closer to home, and hospitality, healthcare is going to be a big one that we're targeting, because I can, like, my dad passed away from cancer last year and he hated chemotherapy. So I wanted to ideally try to break into that market to try to help people make something that is really awful a little bit more bearable is my goal. So
yeah, some going from like a white hospital room to something that's more palatable when you're going through something that can cause such great suffering, like hey, I want to do my chemo in the rainforest, and so we'd be able to essentially create surroundings that would emulate a rainforest, including sounds, 3D mapping, visuals, stuff like that as well. And so there's pieces of those technologies that exist, but what we're doing is we're piecing it together, and we're using AI to make that happen, and make it happen in real time as well too. So that's really where the cutting edge begins, is what you can do and how quickly you can do that, versus, oh, okay, you want to be in the jungle, all right, well, let me go back and create some software to make this happen, where we can use AI to really output things very quickly.
Mitch, should I be scared?
I don't think you should be scared. I should think you should be excited.
I'm excited. I'm like, I want to put my whole place in this thing. Like, come on, my whole condo. I'm like, let's make it. I'm like, come on over, people. Let's have a party in space.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear with AI, because people think of AI as artificial intelligence, and right now we're not there. So we all think of the Skynet type thing and the doomsday scenarios, but we're not there with AI. We're not even anywhere close to AI being sentient. If you guys remember IBM's Watson, that was like a flash in the pan that came in. It kind of did what ChatGPT did. They've kind of improved on it, but AI essentially is just machine learning. So we have to give AI the information for it to start being able to be programmed. So essentially AI is just it's a tool. It's a tool. Yeah, it's a tool that can word vomit, but it can mimic what we do. But the brilliance of AI and the way that it's going is the benefits it can have on society. Mm-hmm. And we could sit here for hours and hours and talking about the potential of life-changing things that AI can actually do. Just for example, in my everyday work life, like AI is making it a lot easier for RF traffic. So like radio frequencies, the way cell phone technology works, using AI can really help make an infrastructure a lot more efficient without having to add on to the infrastructure. So AI, it's going to touch everything we do in every aspect of life in the coming future, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
And I understand, like, a lot of people are scared. I do get that. And there's a lot of reason to be scared. Like, if you think back when the internet first came out, like, guess what happened? Like, anytime there's something new, there's going to be ways that people can abuse it, ways that criminals can find to, like voice cloning, for example. I've seen a lot of scamming coming out of that. I think with fake news on social media, like, that's a threat that we really need to be cognizant of. So there are a lot of serious things that we do need to be aware of, but I do think, like, would anybody say, like, oh, we shouldn't have gotten the internet because of that? Like, I don't think anybody would say that, right? So it's really just the next step in our evolution, and it's going to take, I don't like to call it a recession. I like to call it a recalibration, and we're all going to have to recalibrate to whatever this new world looks like with this.
Do you guys suppose that in the dictionary in the not too distant future, word vomit will be in there?
I hope so. Because a lot of what ChatGPT is, like, ChatGPT does a really good job of mimicking how humans talk. So an example of ChatGPT is, it has these giant data lakes of information that they pump into it, but essentially that information is us. So it's just using what we say to each other, and it's thinking, based on the next step. So I usually see this word followed by this word if these words are asked to me. And so when we talk about machine learning, that's really all it is. It's putting those together, and it can be really convincing.
There is something, though, that kind of came out of AI that nobody really expected, like side effects of AI, like language translation of languages that it was never trained on. Like, there are certain things that have miraculously kind of come out of AI that no one planned on, even the programmers, that have evolved very quickly. So that is something legitimate. It's like, okay, well, it can learn from itself. And that's what we do know now, right? Is that it can learn from itself. And so if you compound that over time, I don't know where that's going to head us. And I think there's a lot of people that are scared about that. I'm not going to go Skynet on this episode, but I think that the main thing I want to focus on is how can we use it for good? How can we help mankind? How can we detect diseases earlier than normally we would? How can we avoid people taking medications that are maybe contradicting each other and causing a lot of problems? There's a lot of human error that can be avoided because of AI. And so
Mitch, so far I've learned 2 new phrases. One is word vomit and the other one is Skynet. I'm not.
Have you ever seen
you didn't know
Terminator?
about Skynet?
Yeah, Terminator, Skynet.
Terminator.
Skynet, that's what takes over.
I apparently wasn't paying attention at that particular moment.
I just watched them all the other day too. So.
You binged on Terminator?
Yeah, every now and then I like to go back and watch them all in order. I do that with lots of different things. But I was like, man, I haven't watched these in a long time, and I liked Terminator. And there was a newer one that I hadn't seen, not as good as the classic ones, but went through and watched them all. And yeah, Skynet. I've seen people post about it too with all the new AI thing. They're like, this isn't Skynet, but it's funny.
Except it kind of is. No, just
well, you have a lot of people
there.
It is. So you have a lot of people, like Musk and Bill Gates that are saying, hey, we need to like slow our roll when it comes to AI. And what they're talking about is like how far we're advancing it, because early on, with introspective and retrospective, when we look back at the internet, there's a lot of things that we would probably do immediately when the internet started becoming a big thing that it took us a decade to get onto. And so what they want to kind of prevent those past failures when it comes to AI, and basically just have guardrails. And really it comes to the stuff that Nolie was talking about when it comes to like, scamming, like being able, using AI to change videos and what a person is saying or how they look. You could, your Mima, we like to say, could get a phone call from you that's not you, that's AI, that's been trained to mimic your voice, and you can say whatever you want and have your dear old Mima send you whatever you want. So there are things that you have to worry about, and I think it's important that we're aware of those things. But I think there's a lot of beautiful, exciting things, more so, that AI is going to produce than the negative effects. There's always going to be negative, and we always have to be cognizant of that. But the potential, like, I can't understate how transformative AI is going to be in the next decade. We're going to see a technological jump in the next decade. We were kind of close to quantum computing. With AI helping those problems, we're literally months and not decades away from true quantum computing. And then of course you have to deal with that, but that's AI is assisting us. AI is accelerating a lot of our technology.
Okay,
we're not
Mitch,
going to achieve intergalactic travel for my Trekkies out there without it.
Okay, Mitch. Quantum computing. What is that?
I'm not going to be able to give you a good definition on quantum computing, but I'm falling bits and pieces here. I'm not a genius in this category. I've been learning things through time, and I'm excited to hear more about it though.
So the easiest way to say it is, so usually computers are binary, so zeros and ones. It's either a 0 or a 1. With quantum computing, it can be both at the same time. I know it's kind of mind-blowing, but what that allows for is it basically allows for processing power far beyond what you would normally see. So theoretically, you could have a machine the size of a phone that would have more computing power in it than all of the computers in the state of California. Just through the way that quantum computing works. Again, there hasn't been the breakthroughs that we want to see in quantum computing until recently. There's been some really crazy breakthroughs, and with those breakthroughs come the negatives as well. And that's people being able to bypass encryption keys, being able to get into infrastructure.
Security is a real
easy.
thing.
Security is a real thing. So right now, like the company that I'm for, they're already working on having protections to protect against quantum decrypting, because that's going to be coming in the future, and they're using AI to power a lot of these technologies. So really, it's AI versus AI, and a lot of these things, it's the good guys trying to stop the bad guys, just like it is now. Now with when we're dealing with cybersecurity, but AI can really help us along the way. And it is important that we have guardrails, but I really want to talk about all the positive stuff with AI, like all the cool stuff that's coming with AI.
I know.
I wanted to ask you, because when earlier you were talking about being able to turn a hospital room into like a rainforest. How is that different than my little virtual reality machine that I have sitting over here?
The main, it's not, but the main thing I've taken away is that a lot of people don't like to actually wear VR like glasses or goggles. Like a lot of people get dizzy with it. They just don't like to have something on their face. So, and also it's a very one person thing. And for a chemotherapy room, that might be fine. But what we envision in the future is this really being something that could bring people together, and something that you don't have to rely on wearing something to be able to get that immersive experience. And so when I want to go to cool things like this, like let's go to space, or let's go to the jungle, or let's go to Paris, like wherever, my imagination takes me, I usually want to experience that with another person. It's like a part of a
shared experience.
Yeah. Like whether it's with your kids, as a family, whether it's a romantic date night, like whatever it may be, it's usually communal. And I think VR misses the boat when it comes to communal. And so that's what we're trying to do, is to get more so that human connection.
Bringing a whole new thing to long distance relationships.
Well,
you could sync it up. But so I have a PS, I've had the Quest Oculus, I have a PS, VR2 that I use daily as well. So immersion is extremely important, but there's limitations. Like you said, it's one headset for a person. You can kind of get the little, I call it the scuba mask effect, to where you always know that you're kind of looking through a mask into this environment. Whereas being able to project these images on any environment that you're around really just changes the immersion. It also adds to a lot of other things you can do, as far as, your holodeck. That's what I always think about when I think of this technology, is I think of, we're going to create a holodeck. Like we're going to start down that path. And really, that's what it's like. You want to go in, you want to say that you're on the beach in space, or I want to be on a beach on Mars. Like we could use AI to create what that might look like, what that could be like. So not only are we able to give this immersion, but we're also able to individualize the immersion to really,
it's unlocking your imagination.
Exactly.
Like if you have an imagination and you can think of something, this technology could bring it to fruition.
Yeah, you don't have to wait for a game developer to, for 2-3 years to put out a game about this thing. You can say, hey, I want to go here, and the technology can do that for you because of AI. It can the turnaround time is incredible.
So do you see a time in the near future where Mitch can be in Seattle and I can be in New York, and we can project ourselves into the same, not physically, but visually project ourselves into the same space and have
That's
a
already
conversation?
capable.
You can-
Yeah, you
you
can do
can-
that now.
You can do that
Oh,
now. There's a
so
lot
much.
of bells and whistles you need. Like you would need it. Like now they can do it through water, through mist to create that holographic effect. You could do that. You could also project on a certain thing. So there's ways to do it now, and AI is just going to help make that a lot more feasible for masses.
And that I think is the main feasible, right? Like a lot of technology that we're talking about, it's been around for a really long time. It just hasn't been mainstream. Like AI is not new.
Like
Machine learning isn't new.
The
It's just
Tupac
that
hologram was what, like $3 million they had to pay for that? For just remember when Tupac did the hologram concert?
yeah, there was a Tupac concert. I
Tupac-
remember that.
yeah.
Like that was like a decade ago or longer.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're not talking about new things. It's just that it was only something that really the ultra rich could afford to do. And what we're talking about is bringing this to the masses. So it's something that average person would be able to experience.
Now you guys are scaring me again. Can you guys picture a time when you can create your own world with artificial people who don't really exist and have conversations with them and then never leave your room again?
I actually saw an app just the other day where it was you can get a girlfriend. Like this is not our technology, this is not what we're doing, but this already exists. Like there's relationships that you can have with an AI girlfriend or boyfriend.
She goes to a different high school and she lives in Canada.
Do you have the website for that?
It's kind of like the movie Her. You ever see that
It
movie?
kind of is, yeah.
Yeah, develops a relationship with that.
And
AI
you throw in
voice.
robotics in there with the AI, and it's like, oh.
So that's kind of what's crazy about AI is, these sci-fi were fantasies to us, a long time ago. They're going to become a lot more practical and a lot cheaper because AI is allowing that. AI is allowing that quick turnaround time. It's able to write the code that you need to make these things happen with minimal input. So if you can give AI the right infrastructure to create that stuff, a lot of things are feasible. Now, getting it to where it's, past the uncanny valley, which is that, if you're watching a movie like, say, Avatar, where you have a hard time knowing, okay, what is CG and what's not CG. And then sometimes you find out that what was CG wasn't CG. And then what you didn't think was CG is CG. So getting to that is going to start growing as well. You can already see the production value of TV shows, low budget TV shows shooting through the roof because AI is able to really put out the CG a lot quicker. Than it would take, Jurassic Park took 4 or 5 years to develop. You can now make something very similar in, a fraction of that time because AI is assisting with these tools.
Corey, why is it that I get the impression that if you and I were to be sitting at Starbucks having a cup of coffee, and I said, "So, Corey, what exactly is it that you do?" That's the last thing that I would understand for the rest of the conversation.
My day job is I'm actually an RF engineer. That's my day job. But I've been a nerd through and through since I was younger. I've been an avid gamer. I'm 43 now. I've been an avid gamer my entire life. So immersion and being able to go to, these fantastical worlds and having, immersion and me wanting to be on a different planet or, explore the ocean. These are all things that have resonated with me. And that's what kind of, drove me to, Nolie's idea for this company and what Clean AI is going to do is that we're finally in a spot now where these things are going to become practical. And for me, I think the biggest thing that I'm hopeful for about AI is it's kind of like back in like the 90s, if you wanted to get on the internet early on, you had to go to the library. The library was usually going to be your access to the internet. And you had, eyes on you, what you were doing. It was pretty limited. And then eventually it became, everyone
mainstream.
Same thing with AI. AI is there's bits and pieces that people can get to it, but for the real good AI and the real things, this is the Disney worlds, the Matterhorns of the worlds.
Coca-Cola has been doing AI for like years now, so they were one of the early adopters. There's a lot of companies that have been doing it for a while. It's just now we're going to start to see even the layman user using it to make their life easier. For example, like with ChatGPT, when I was first playing around with it. And this is something that any person that's tech savvy or not could go on to ChatGPT now and do. I went on there and I took an inventory of everything that was in my fridge. And I asked ChatGPT to write me a meal plan for the week using the ingredients that I had.
Mostly condiments.
He makes fun of me because I don't have a lot of food in my fridge. But it actually really was. I started to think about the possibilities of people that have really finicky, like if you're vegan or you can't have dairy or whatever it is, and you could plug in like ChatGPT. This would be an example of a prompt you could plug in. I want you to act as a nutritionist, and I want you to provide me with a 7-day meal plan, 3 days a week, 1,600 calories that avoids dairy and always includes like whatever the parameters are that you can think of that you want to meet, and it will give you an output. And so, yes, that's going to put a lot of nutritionists out of a job. I realize that. But it is what it is. You can't put the genie back in the bottle at this point. There's going to be a lot of us that will probably be out of a job. But I do want to evangelize the fact that the average person, you don't have to be a tech guru to know how to use this. You just need to be able to put in a prompt that's really specific so that it can give you quality output.
And I think this plays into, being a Trekkie myself as well too. I think this is one of the things, the idea of that utopia of, we're allowing AI to do a lot of the work that people just don't want to do in general. People are meant to be, what makes us human is being artistic and being able to explore and being able just to have a human experience. So AI, as many jobs as AI is going to take away, and AI is going to be transformative to jobs, we're going to have to start looking at things like, universal basic income. I know that's, a negative thing for a lot of people, but that's going to be the reality of the situation as AI starts making a lot of these jobs obsolete, which isn't always a bad thing. The bad thing is, what do governments do to transition the population into a world where there doesn't need to be a job for everything? I mean, McDonald's just launched their first fully automated McDonald's. There's not a single employee, not even a technician at their McDonald's, or was it in Vegas? I think it was fully automated. And this is Taco Bell has one as well, where they only have 2 employees upstairs that just make sure everything's going okay. So the future is going this way, unless there's laws that are going to be blocking all this stuff, which I just don't see because of the trends, how transformative this is. These are topics that, are going to have to start being discussed because AI is going to make a lot of jobs, including my own, obsolete. And it's not going to happen tomorrow. It might not happen in a few years, but it is coming, and it's going to happen in our lifetimes, and, sooner than a lot of us would like to see coming.
Well, since you were all Trekkies here, in the 23rd century, which may happen faster than that, they didn't have jobs. They could pursue whatever their heart and whatever their passion was to do whatever they wanted to do. So if they wanted to go be in Starfleet, you could do that, or if you wanted to go paint, you could do that, and so it gave you a measure of freedom. I hope that's where we go.
I hope so too. I honestly think that it's all like who's driving this train and who's making sure that we're heading in the right direction. And we're going to have to leave politics to that and see how that plays out. But I do think that this gives us an opportunity to completely change how we provide purpose in our own lives, because historically it has been driven by the work that we do. Like that's just the kind of spirit of capitalism, right? Is what you do for work is what kind of drives your purpose. Yeah. And that will no longer be the case. It will be something much deeper. And I think that could actually be a good thing if you look at it from the right lens.
But we still need a replicator in order to make all that work. We still need the food replicator that I can say, hey, give me this, for this to work. So there's still a lot that is coming, but if you talk to futurists and you listen to people like Michio Kaku and things like that, like this is this is the direction that we're going. Now, of course, can things change? Can there be catastrophes that change? Of course. But if we stay the course and we're being smart about AI and we're being smart about our choices that we have with AI, and we're being smart about how we are using AI in a society, I think the sky is a limit. But again, I mean, we all know, we can wish in one hand and
things get peopled.
Yeah,
things get peopled.
Exactly.
Anytime you get people involved, there's problems.
Screw it up.
Hold on just a second, guys. By the way, if you want to go find out more about what they're doing, go to clean-ai.net. net, and they've got a bunch of stuff on there that I don't understand, but that's just me. Mitch, it's time for break. Would you like to take us to our break, sir?
Yeah, I mean,
He's like overwhelmed.
I tend to do. First of all, I apologize because I tend to do that just to see what
you
his
gotta give
reaction
me a
is.
warning, Kevin.
I know I'm not. I no, that would not be accurate. That would. So I'll tell you what. I'll do it this time. And you do it next time.
All
How's
right,
that?
perfect. That works for me.
Okay. All right. By the way, you're listening to Positive Talk Radio, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes, and I hope you'll stay with us. We're talking with Nolie and Corey and Mitch, and we're talking about AI. It's scary. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody. If I could have your attention, please. I have an important announcement to make just for you. As you may know, PTR is heard and seen on radio, KKNW, and now Kixie, several websites, podcasts, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and most social media. At PTR, we believe in working together to make the world a better place, and because you're listening, we know that you're dedicated to the same. So we'd like to support your efforts by offering an outstanding multimedia package for you at a deeply discounted rate. As our partner, you'll receive commercial creation, both video and audio, at least 10 commercial plays per week, a monthly show to highlight your business and passion, exclusive website positioning with links, video shorts for social media, commercial plays on all shows, podcasts, KKNW, and Kixie. Your commercial is embedded into each episode and as a podcast is sent to over 50 different platforms. All shows are performed live and sent to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and stay there forever. Your podcast episodes are provided to you to use as you see fit. This one-time offer is only $250 a week, based on a 13-week commitment, and as our partner, we are vested in your success, and will do everything in our power to make it happen. However, there are limited spots available, so don't hesitate. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro, and let's get the ball rolling.
When you want to say more than words communicate, you can with flowers. Your custom boutique floral studio in Bothell, Washington is anaturaldesign.com, connecting you to nature through the language of flowers. Where your people are is where our flowers are beautiful. Your success is our goal. anaturaldesign.com at your fingertips today.
Hey there, I would personally like to thank you for making Positive Talk Radio part of your day. Whether you like podcasts or the radio show, we're glad to have you along. I'd love to hear from you with thoughts about the show and ways that we can make it even better. You are the reason we do these shows, because the more people we can touch, the better we can make the planet and our time here just magnificent. Please contact me, Kevin, at kmmedia.pro with any thoughts, comments, or suggestions, and thank you for being in my dream. And welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. My name is Kevin MacDonald, and yes, I'm scared. No, I'm not kidding. Just kidding. But Mitch, you grew up with this stuff. I mean, when I grew up, vinyl records were new. They had been, and Nolie's sitting there laughing at me.
Sorry.
But you grew up with computers and all this stuff. Does this make a lot of sense to you?
Yeah, I mean, it does make a lot of sense. I think we talked about it first half of the show. I mean, we watched a lot of movies, sci-fi, and things like that we saw. Even in old movies about the internet, or like we were talking about, or just different things and we kind of were blown away. We thought like that wasn't ever possible. And as time's gone on, those things have become possible, and it's pretty exciting. I like to see adapt, just everything in general, I guess. And it's really exciting. I mean, this is a whole new it's a pretty robust new age thing that's going on right now. So and it's really exciting. I think you can either embrace it or try to resist it, but I think resistance is futile. So it's best to
I
just kind
actually
of
started writing a modern day kind of Terminator novel where, like, with ChatGPT, where like half the world was like against AI and they like refused it, and then the other half embraced it, and the ones that refused it, they're like homeless. Well, I mean,
Quick.
that's dark.
I know. Well, it's an end of the world type book. So.
Well, people resist what they don't understand. And,
Yeah.
and that's where we have, the two of you and other people. I think that once people start to understand and see all the different types of benefits and cool things that can be done with it to excel, just society, everything, all in general, that it'll be something that'll become more and more adapted. Kind of like, when the internet first came out, people were like, whoa, this is crazy. And now you can't get people off of it, once they finally fully understand it. And how long it's going to take for people to understand it, I guess, is kind of up to them a little bit, but it's definitely exciting for sure.
Well, isn't it true also that the AI can be used for good, like healthcare, in that to do the number of computations that it might take in order to, as an example, cure cancer. Now it may take 10 years to come up with what AI can come up with in a day or a couple hours. So we may be on the cusp of getting rid of disease as we know it if it's used in the appropriate way.
They just had a huge breakthrough in cancer. So I don't remember the exact cancer they were going off of, but basically, they were looking at these different therapies for this cancer and what would work. And they brought AI into it, and AI found a brand new treatment that they think is going to work. Now, of course, it has to go through, the trials and all that stuff, but AI was able to do in essentially about a month what researchers have been trying to do for the last 5 or 6 years. And again, it's just because of that computation thing. AI can take the knowledge of everything that you can throw at it versus the knowledge of just one person. And even when we talk about, adaptation rates, AI can help with that. AI can find out ways to make it easier for people to adapt to the new technology. So you don't have, your boss who's still refusing to use email, 30 years after it was invented. So AI is just going to be incredibly transformative, but that's really where I have the most hope is when it comes to longevity, curing cancer, being able to make, disease a thing of the past. It's AI really,
environmental issues too.
100%.
Like a lot of the things that we struggle with for complex problems in the world that we have not been able to come to some sort of a solution, AI is probably going to expedite that process much quicker, and we're going to be able to push out solutions sooner than later that will solve a lot of our world's problems. So I like to focus on the good. I know that there is bad, and I get that, but I think it's important that we try to use it for good and that we don't focus just on the bad, because like human nature, that's what we do. We focus on the bad, doom and gloom and all of that. But the more that we can try to see the good and how we can use it, the more that we can try to direct it that way, because we're only as good as the way that we can direct it.
You know what, Mitch, what's scary to me is that you now can, and I saw this just the other day, an interview with Donald Trump and an interviewee, and all of it was fake. And neither of them were even in the room and I'm worried that if we're not very careful, that can pollute our politics.
I actually emailed Kamala Harris like 3 weeks ago, like on this exact, she never wrote back, but but I was like, no, that fake news is a really serious issue for not just the United States. This is a world problem, because imagine, we're already so heavily influenced by social media. I don't think anyone will debate that. But you throw in fake news where you have a world leader like Trump or Kim Jong-un or whoever making a statement that people believe, and it spreads, it could have ripple effects that have real consequences in the world. And it was never, even with, you think political races. Like we're on the verge of a new political, like next year, right? Like we got this political arena coming up. Imagine if you have fake news coming out about the other person, like things they never did, like scandalous type things that could come out that they never did. You know, this is possible now, and that's the part that's scary.
Yeah. A friend of mine, I was in the military, and a friend of mine who still does contractor work in the military says this is really the new arms race is AI. AI is really in both, you know, resource management, you know, innovation, but also when it comes to these type of things, being able to prevent, you know, social engineering, these type of things. So AI, it's here to stay. There's going to be the bad with it, but there's a lot of good stuff like what it can do with 8D audio and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just before I go on to the audio stuff, I do want to say, just as a personal thing, I think we should put legislature in place that forces any content creators. And this is, I think, something that nations should come together. It should be, like I said, it's a world problem. It's not a United States problem. But I think we should have legislature that says when something is synthetic versus not synthetic. Like whether we need to put a watermark. And Google actually just did this morning. Any future imagery that is created out of Google I/O, the new one that just launched this morning, they are going to be putting a watermark moving forward. So that is something that's new that just came out this morning. So just FYI, we're headed in that direction with the forced watermark, but we need to make sure that, you know, it's across the board so that people know real from fake. But
yeah, and it's a digital watermark as well too. So you can't just go in with, you know, Photoshop and remove it. It also has a digital a footprint as well, because you have to protect artists, things like that. You know, and that's another big thing about AI is, you know, where is the line for that? Mm-hmm. So we're really trying to be very ethical about how we're using AI with the company as well too. But that brings us kind of to the 8D sound, which is one of the things that I think is really cool when we're talking about immersion in the holodeck experience, is sound and how important sound is in that, and what AI can do to transform sound in general to sound way more immersive in the space as well.
Yeah. Have you heard of 8D sound? Like either of you?
No, but before we go there, I have to fight on behalf of my audience and me, because what in the hell is a watermark?
Oh, it's like
I think there's one there, like the little TikTok where
like that would be it lost my arm. I'm going into the abyss, guys. Yeah. But it's basically an overlaid graphic that will say where it came from.
Like Getty Images. You see like some images that say Getty Images, that's a watermark saying, hey, this is an owned image from Getty Images. It just lets you know where the content is from. The idea is to keep up copyright, to prevent, you know, theft, things like that. And now, you know, when we have this where AI can just clone, you know, a Biggie Small song and someone can just be like, oh, here this is, you know, it's important to have that. So when it comes to art, visuals, what she was saying about, you know, misinformation, when you have digital watermarks on these things, if you're using an AI tool to create this, it really makes it a lot easier for people to be able to understand what's real and what's not.
Mitch, that makes sense to you?
It does. I know what a watermark is, so that was really all for you, Kevin.
The more you know.
Thank you for standing right there with me. It was great.
I got your back, Kevin. It's okay.
I appreciate it. So, but let's you know, you were going to mention music and audio. Explain what you were talking about there.
Yeah, like so 8D audio is something that's actually been around a while, but it's being used, and there's been studies that have come out of like Psychology Today and a lot of different resources that show that it has really great therapeutic benefits. I actually learned about it from my own therapist. That's how I was introduced to it. And so it helps with ADHD, helps with PTSD. So and anyone that struggles with
anxiety,
depression, trauma, that sort of thing, what 8D sound does in a nutshell, people that have endured trauma of any kind, they typically are kind of stuck in a fight or flight response, whether they want to be or not. And the brain is just there. And I also have ADHD. So it's like a ping pong ball, right? Like I can't calm my brain down. And so meditation has always been difficult for someone like me because I can't ground myself. And what 8D sound allows someone to do it basically plugs in sound that goes back and forth between the left and the right sides of the brain to confuse and take you out of that fight or flight response and ground you. So it almost instantaneously puts you in a meditative type state. So for people like me, it's very helpful. And so when I discovered it, it was honestly a game changer. I'm a survivor of abuse. It is what it is. Like, but it worked, and so here I am. And so I think that's the thing is I think that's what's guiding this whole thing is I want to help people, and I think there's always a way to the other side, and I want to try to incorporate this type of technology into this immersive experience. So that's why with Clean AI, we already have the cool visuals, right? We got the 4K immersive experience with the visuals, but let's bring in some sound, like with the chemotherapy rooms, acupuncturist rooms, like anything in the healthcare. I could see how somebody's in a fight or flight response when they're really stressed out in that environment, right? Like this will just instantly create a calming sensation.
Interesting. Matt or Mitch, what do you think?
No, I think that's awesome. I think it's great. I mean, it kind of similar, like there's people, like they have that Calm app, there's different applications and stuff like that. I think that's just that, some of them are geared towards, helping people sleep. I like hearing this where it's geared towards helping people, with PTSD, ADHD. I'm definitely going to say one of those people as well. And, having something or having the ability to have something like that that's can ground you is big, whether it's stress, anxiety, all those different things. It's pretty exciting. So I'm happy to hear about it.
Now, I did want to ask both of you a question that is a little off, but I got to ask it anyway because somebody in my audience is interested in it. And that is, you've heard of the concept of we're energetic beings in a physical body?
Absolutely. Raise your frequency.
How is AI, how is that going to change our energetic side, our
So
ability?
A lot of the sound, actually, so a lot of the sounds I've been creating with 8D sound, I deliberately try to bring in higher frequency pitches that are known to resonate at a higher frequency. So for those that are on the call that are not familiar with frequencies, like every emotion, and this is scientifically proven, by the way, every emotion has a frequency to it, right? So it's like happy, depression, like there's a range of emotions, right? And they all emit a different frequency. If you're spiritual, you believe this at least. And you can raise your frequency simply by bringing in higher frequency sounds. And so I have deliberately kind of plugged in those to kind of manifest those higher frequencies for people that are in a lower state of vibration.
As you raise those just real quick, I just have to ask this one. As you raise your frequency, is it then possible for a human being to increase their ability to do things like psychic readings and mediumship and talking to the other side?
Transcendence.
Yes.
This is where you can go a little, like, you're going to either be spiritual or you're not. I honestly believe yes, like I really do, but I'm a spiritual person and I kind of connect in that way. So I do think it actually does connect you to something bigger than ourselves. And I think it connects you with we all have a voice inside of our heads, whether you call it intuition or whatever you want to call it, right? Like you usually know when you're doing shady shit or didn't mean to swear. You usually know good from bad, right? But we don't necessarily always listen to it. There's that voice inside of our heads. And I think when you have a higher vibration, it kind of connects you more to that intuitive side of yourself.
Yeah. And I think what AI can do, like bringing this into the scientific realm. So what AI can really do with this is it can take this feedback. It can look at, your heart rate. There's things that it can look at from like your Apple Watch to take in some of the health things that you're doing, taking the sound that you're listening to. And AI can see what is actually changing what you're doing. And that's just going to get better and better and better at what it's doing. So AI is going to be able to help us progress. And especially when it comes to our understanding of our own human brains, there's a lot that we don't understand about our brains. Like there's so much that we don't understand when it comes to, we don't even know what dreams actually are. Like there's debate still amongst what that is. So there's all this stuff that AI is going to actually help us advance. The same thing, like we're figuring out better cancer treatments. It's going to do the same thing with us being able to map the brain and map the neurons of what does what, and all this, and then get into things like Neuralink and stuff like that. And I think that's really where the transcendence is going to come, is humans eventually merging with AI in some type of
that's what Elon Musk is trying to do.
Yeah. So the easiest answer for a lot of this is AI is going to accelerate just about everything. Whatever a human being can think about and process through the information, AI is going to be able to do that at an accelerated rate. And so it's still only going to be as good as the information that we're giving it to a point, but there is going to come a point to where AI is going to surpass even us and what our ideas are. Just looking when it comes to resource management, we think that we have it figured out about, how much we need of gas to make work, or what do we have to make sure that this certain region has the right amount of food. The UN is already using AI to understand what agriculture looks like nationwide. With the war in Ukraine, they used AI to figure out, like, okay, what does, the impact to the grain that they give to most of the Middle East, what is that going to do? How can we figure out how to kind of allocate that? So AI it's going to transform and accelerate everything, including, some of the metaphysical stuff that we're seeing as well.
Okay, Mitch, I'm not scared anymore, because if you can use AI to raise the vibration of every human being on the planet into a positive zone rather than a negative
Theoretically,
zone,
yes.
you will eliminate a lot of the negativity, hate, division, and fear that is out there, because everybody will be operating at a higher level. Does that make sense to you, young man?
I mean, it sounds like a really good thing for positive talk radio, if you ask
It
me.
does. I won't be here anymore. You'll be having your beard will be gray, and no, it won't be. This could happen relatively quickly, can't it?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Neuralink is a technology. It's like a microchip that Elon Musk is working on, that is an implanted microchip, and I can envision the world of AI and that coming together to ultimately boost everyone's consciousness. Like I can see that's where it's probably headed.
Cybernetics, yeah.
And this is me just kind of connecting the dots of all of these different technologies that are around right now, but they haven't been merged together. But I can see how this could come together in that kind of utopian type way. Whether it plays out like that, I don't know. But I think that I do believe that the intentions are at least good. That's what we're trying to do.
And a lot of people would be scared that if you put an implant or into you lose your ability to think for yourself, think freely, and it takes away your free choice. And
Right.
that would be their counter argument to being able to do that. And that's really is science fiction when you get down to it. Mitch, I've had a fun time today. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's been great. Was not familiar with, the 8D or the sound, a number of these different things. You hear AI and it can be a lot of things, good and bad. And, mostly like it's, everything we're talking about is to the benefits of the good and what you can do with it. And I think that there's a lot of people, I know that there's a lot of people out there that think of AI and they think of it in a one dimension or a one channel, whatever way, but there's so many different avenues that it can go that can be beneficial, whether it's healthcare, whether it's, it's just people's overall, just their feelings. We talked about the frequency. I feel like the possibilities are endless, and you can either be excited about it or not, but to me, it's super exciting just to hear about all these different things that Nolie and Corey have been sharing. And I just now our brain's just thinking about what else can we do, and so it's exciting. I mean, yeah, and
mission accomplished.
And it's nice to see, time, is a big thing people talk about, time is money, or just time in general. Like we don't, it's not endless, right? And so to be able to take the things that you're talking about and stuff that would take people, years, 5, 6, 7 years, and be able to accomplish something like that in a month, that's a huge increase in being able to produce certain things that are positive for us. It's not like something we can talk about now and it's like, yeah, that's going to be in 10 years from now. It's like, no, it's going to be in a month or two from now. And I think
people are getting whiplash right now. We're not like,
yeah.
Most people don't really embrace change. We like comfort zone. Like what we know is what we know, and I want to stay here, right? And when you have accelerated change, like what we're seeing now, which this is really accelerated. So even me, like I'm keeping on top of it, and I have whiplash. So I can't even imagine how the average person feels.
Speaking of accelerating, we've got 1 minute left in the program, so I would like you two to tell us anything you'd like us to know in the next 45 seconds or so.
I would love to have everyone follow us on TikTok. We are pushing out 8D sounds with immersive experiences as we speak. We will be going to market with our full product at some point, but it is under development right now. So TBD on that date. But if you want to learn more, go to clean-ai.net for the website. And go ahead and lean over. And there's our TikTok handle. It's Nerdle_Ninja. Nerdle Ninja over there. Nerd for short. That's what he goes by. That's our mascot.
And one last spooky thing is everyone is using AI now. Siri is AI. Everyone uses AI in their everyday life and they don't even know it. So that's something that some of your viewers can kind of let sink in is, what do I use every day that is AI actually? It's more than you think.
Absolutely. Mitch, it's your job to take us out, young man.
I will take us out. To all you beautiful people out there, you are listening to Positive Talk Radio here on KKNW 1150. And remember, be kind to one another because one another is all we've got.